Okay, folks, so for this one here, we're trying to calculate the components of velocity. So, components of velocity. What that means is, like, for example, if this thing is like a little cannon that's been fired, and it shoots out right here, and it goes and it lands all the way right here, right? Well, when it first leaves, the second it leaves, is it going up or is it going to the right? Which one? And your answer is, well, I think both. It's kind of heading this way, but it's also kind of heading that way the second it leaves, right? It's kind of doing both. So, and here's three different setups. Like for example, if you shot this one out like a 15-degree angle, well, it's heading to the right really fast, but it's not going up very quickly. Okay, where this one right here, it's kind of a good mix. Let's say that's 45 degrees. It's pretty much half and half. It's kind of half of its speed is kind of going up, and then half of its speed is going this way, kind of even. Like if you notice, this length is the same as this length, pretty close. Here's the other extreme. Is it going to the right? A little bit, right? So a little bit of Vx speed, right? Velocity in the x direction, but a lot of going up, a lot of that Vy speed. So there is a difference, and what we're trying to find is how fast is it going up and how fast is it going to the left, you know? So, I mean, sorry, to the right. So if we want to calculate that out, it's actually pretty easy if you just learn the last one doing sines and cosines, and that's why we practice that. It's quite easy actually. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a speed here. Let's say 40 meters per second, right? And this thing takes off at 40 meters per second. And let's say that's a 30-degree angle. And of course, it goes on and on, whatever. It flies out. If we're trying to figure out this right here, and if we're trying to find out this, so the x component and the y component. How fast is it heading up and how fast is it heading to the right? It's quite actually easy. This side we're going to use cosine, and this side we're going to use sine. Okay, so here we go. So Vx is equal to, and we're going to say the cosine of 30 degrees, and remember it's going to be some like point something, right? We just did that lesson. And then times it by the actual just straight up V, and then that'll give you your answer. If you want to find Vy, we're going to use the sine of some angle. The angle is 30 degrees, of course, for this problem. And once you know that, the sine of 30 degrees, and it's going to be point something, of course, we're going to times it by the original v and get that answer. So let's go ahead and just find the answers. Let's clear this, and we're going to do 30 times sine. Oh, sorry, cosine. Let's do the first one. Cosine, it's going to be 0.8666. Then times it by, what was the original speed right here? 40? Times it by 40. And the answer is 34.6. So let's go ahead and let's write that 34.6, 34.6 meters per second. Okay. And then how fast is it heading up? Well, let's do that one real quick. Clear. And we're going to do 30 degrees again, but this time we're doing sine because we're finding the y component. So sine, it happens to be a half, times it by the 40, because remember we have to times it by the main v, and it becomes 20 meters per second. So that's it. So we could say that this thing is heading upwards at 20 meters per second. It's heading up at 20 meters per second, but it's heading to the right at 34.6 meters per second. So those are our two answers, and try some practice problems on the y's and the x's right now on Moodle.